Okay, mic check. Turns out I've been speaking on mute for a moment now. Right, so we're gonna wait for a minute or two to allow people to join into the stream. Hello, GMS. Welcome to the stream. Hope you had a, what do I say, eventful race yesterday. It was mightily eventful for me yesterday. Hello, Nick Cherry. I don't seem to recognize you. Are you a driver in this? In this tier, I should say. Yeah. Yeah, we have 15 drivers with us today. It was something indeed. I think this layout was quite interesting. Hello, welcome, Goose. You don't want to relive this round? Yeah, the uh, highlight of my race was when I pressed the PlayStation button and navigated my way to the power off button. You're the M6, says Nick. Where is the M? Are you this guy? Sorry, Cherry. Yeah, you are Cherry. All right, so we have Cherry with us, we have GMS with us, we have Goose with us. So I think we should be ready to get going. Should we get going? Wait a moment or something. I think we can start. So the usual awkward intro. Yes, indeed. I was very surprised by that as well, GMS. I wasn't expecting that right now. So welcome, Cherry. Yes, and not just Cherry. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you may be in the world. Welcome back to Aero League Racing. Now, let me get this right. This is season 19 of the Gr3 Championship, the Monday Championship. Division Tier 3 White, round 6 around Monza without the first chicane. Yeah, I've done this so many times and I don't know why it's so awkward every time for me to just say these few words in the correct order. It always feels a little broken. I say it in a very odd manner, but nonetheless, we have 15 drivers with us here at Monza for a 9-lap sprint, which is to be followed by I think it's a 24-lap feature race. So I think, as per usual, Fancy Locks, the speedy Brazilian, as he's mentioned, is like to be called. He is in P1 in the BMW. He's on softs. Cherry is on the softs as well. So the two Beamers locking out the front row. LT Rocker in the Subaru. The Subaru has been very, very rapid. Trouble comes with its tire wear. So let's see how he fares in the feature race. LT Rocker's third. Epsilon is fourth in the Lambo, and A, his teammate, is driving his home race, I'm sure. The Italian in the Lamborghini is lining up P5. Y-Cube in the Jag is 6th. Diego is 7th in the Alpha. Goose is 8th in the McLaren. Turbo is 9th in the Peugeot, and GMS is the other Alpha. So the two Alphas separated by two cars. GMS is lining up 10th. Nate in 11th. Dougal. Either somebody's changed their name or I don't know, maybe a new driver. So welcome Dougal to the grid. Dougal lines up 12th. D-Dubs is 13th. Oh, Ningen, I believe he had lined up. I can see a very big issue here on Ningen's screen. Um, Ningen is in line up 14th. He's a reserve driver and he's from my country. So hello, welcome to the grid. And Dijkstra is on the soft. So save for Ningen, who I think has unfortunately forgotten to change his tire compound from hards to softs. He's going to be starting on the hards. I'm sure everybody else is on the soft tires. There's not a whole lot of tire wear trouble at Monza, no matter what car you're in. Well, I don't think LT will be particularly in agreement with that, but nonetheless, 9 laps of Monza. I hope my audio mix is appropriate. I don't think it is. Should be alright now. Well, apart from Ningen, who will be very, very worried at this point, everybody else will be absolutely desperate to get going, and so am I. So let's go. One light, two light, three lights, four lights, five lights. Goose's wipers are on. That means he's about to get ready for the race, and so are we. The race gets underway. Fancy gets a reasonable start, but he immediately cuts his teammate off to cover up any attack from him. But what a start from LT Rocker from third. He seems to be just cutting his way up the two ahead of him. Cherry gives his teammate a little boost there, but will it be enough? LT seems to have a very good amount of straight line speed, and look at the amount of chaos that's about to unfold at the first chicane of this layout. So Cherry covers off LT Rocker, but LT still has the inside line as we go towards the chicane. Are we going to see a move being made here? Subaru versus BMW, and surprisingly that is incredibly clean. I am very, very surprised, and just as I say that, LT and Cherry have a few bit of argy-bargy here, and somebody in the background has had a pretty serious spin. Let's have a look. Who's that? Oh, that's Goose! So the wipers didn't really work this time around. Let's have a look what happened to the McLaren driver. JMS on the inside, Turbo now on the inside, and that's a little bit of contact from Turbo that spins the McLaren around. And what happened to Nate? Down in 15? Oh, he's taken to the gravel. Yeah, I came very close to doing this in the feature race myself, but this is pretty well behaved from most of the field. I would not be able to say the same about my tier, so for lap 1 of the sprint. But apart from a little bit of chaos further back, everyone seems to have gotten through without too many issues. But the race is just getting started. LT Rocker's been cut off there by Cherry, and now finds himself in third with Epsilon right behind him. And A has not had a very good start, neither has his teammate by the looks of it here. Whatever's happened to the Lamborghini of Epsilon? Whoa. So going through the Lesmo corners, he has Y-Cube right behind him. So is there going to be some contact here between Jag and Lamborghini? That's Deco on the inside, and Epsilon just loses the rear end, it seems, and just happens to collect a couple dozen cars in the process. That leaves Y-Cube now in 4th, JMS now in 5th, and very, very keen to make a move on the Jaguar driver. The Spanish driver about to lose a position to the Irish driver. Into a Scari we go, and JMS is now ahead, but he's got deep into the corner, and Y-Cube regains the place as easily as JMS took it away from him. And at the exit of Ascari, it was not the best exit for Y-Cube. And look who's this. This is Dykstra looking to get past the Irishman and the Spaniard, but Y-Cube has a penalty. Dykstra's boxed in right now. Can't do a whole lot. JMS backed out of the move there, and yeah, Dykstra now takes 5th. Y-Cube has a penalty looming on his head, but I don't think even that will be... I don't think Dykstra will have to wait for that, because he seems to have pretty good straight line speed. Let's have a look. So bump drafting was pretty common in my race. I would assume it was the case for other drivers as well. Dykstra giving Y-Cube a bit of a bump draft. JMS not doing the same for Dykstra. Further back, Turbo Boy and Dougal. And whoa, this is feisty now. Deco lost out in that little moment there for Epsilon, and now finds himself in 10th. What about these guys? Y-Cube and Dykstra. Dykstra trying to move on the outside, and he's gonna make it stick, I think. Doesn't get the best of exits, but I don't think Y-Cube has got a pretty good exit either. He's put on his blinkers, so I'm not sure why that is the case. So there's no left turn upcoming here. Y-Cube will be pretty miffed with the penalty looming on his head, and will be even more miffed that he's got not the best exit out of the second Lesmo, and JMS gets by him. And Turbo Boy is not too far behind either, but I don't think he's close enough to make the move on this occasion. Confusion tactics, well, it's very smart racing, so you need to start inventing. Carlos Sainz once said stop inventing. I think JMS will start inventing here. Y-Cube will have to service penalty right about now, which may put him behind Deco, I feel. After this penalty served, Turbo will get past with ease, and I think actually Deco's a little too far back. I was a little too bad with abduction there. Turbo's now in 6th, looking to get past JMS. Up front though, top 3 are not separated by much. Fancy locks. He has been very, very quick the whole season, but he's not been able to pull away here, because this is a track where slipstream can really play a massive effect, even without this layout. But with this layout, it really gets exemplified. Is that the correct way to put it? Exemplified, yeah. Cherry on the outside, LT on the inside is the battle for P2, and I think LT Rocker is going to be ahead, but Cherry has the all-important inside line. He can send it down the inside, but will he do so? LT wants to defend it. There's a little bit of very minor contact there between the two of them, but I don't think Cherry can't do a whole lot about it, and he now falls down to P3. Dykstra is not too far behind either, so if these two keep battling the way they are, I think they could come under pressure from the Audi. So, exemplified or exaggerated, yeah, I think that is correct. Whoa! And that is an exaggerated bit of overstay there from Dykstra at the exit of the second Lesmo, and that will allow, well, actually yourself, GMS, to catch up to the back of the Audi. Turbos there or thereabouts, not too far behind. Y-Cube, after that penalty, will be pretty upset. Dykstra, well, there's a lot of battles going on up and down the order, but Y-Cube has decided to take himself out of that little battle, and he's gone into the wall. Was there some contact that we weren't able to see? I think there was a little bit of net issue. No, that's Y-Cube just spinning, no, rather losing the rear end all on his own, and that will just throw him out of the top 10. Well, that is, I think he's taken reference from Lightning McQueen there. Or rather the Hudson Hornet, I should say, not Lightning McQueen. Turn right to go left. I think that is the exact gusto with which it was said in the movie as well. Getting a little sidetracked here, but we have a couple of battles to look out for here. Fancy's doing very well, given the fact that he's giving quite a massive tow to the driver behind, all the drivers behind him. He's actually able to hold P1 pretty well. You can see here, Cherry will gain a whole lot on LT, but he just won't be able to make a move here because he's too far back. This is not the Retifilia, sorry, this is the... Which corner this is? I've forgotten my corner names. Dykstra is taken to the gravel there as we approach the Lesmo corner. This is the one corner name that I remember from Monza, and apart from Ascari and Parabolica, I tend to forget the names of the first two chicanes. Deco is a little too far back, but this is the battle that's brewing here. The battle for P4, Dykstra versus GMS versus Turbo Boy. Which one of these three is going to be out in front? It is the Dutchman, the Irishman, and the So people are citing purple sectors, but I think we need to be in some clear air in order to get a purple sector there. Dykstra losing the rear end slightly at the middle of Ascari. That is a very scary moment for any driver. I'm sure Dykstra would have been a little worried with that, but as we go on the run up towards Parabolica, GMS is going to come under a lot of pressure from Turbo Boy. Turbo has the outside line, GMS is the inside, and as we go through Parabolica, I think GMS will just want to cover off Turbo Boy there. I think he does that. Turbo goes slightly off circuit, but that should not deter his momentum, because now he's going to get a great chance at attacking the Alpha driver towards the first chicane, which is actually quite a long way from here. GMS squeezing Turbo Boy into the grass there. Peugeot becoming a miniature lawnmower there for a moment, but nothing doing of that. They're still going side by side towards the Curvo Grande. This is fantastic to watch. GMS versus Turbo, and there may have been a little bit of network issues when I don't think they were close enough to have contact, and the way Turbo Boy's steering registered it. And as we go into the chicane, Turbo has the inside, GMS has the traditional racing line, I think it is, for that particular corner, but no, Turbo had the track advantage there, and he is up into P5. However, not noticed this for a while, Dykstra picked up a 2-second penalty for going over the chicane. Let's have a look if this is valid or not. No, I don't think I can give it 2 seconds for that. Track limits were a little annoying here, but this is not, I would not say this is 2 second worthy. Come on. I got a 1 second penalty for something roundabout similar to what Dykstra's done here in my race, but 2 seconds for this is way too harsh. Had he straight lined the chicane, maybe that would have been worthy of it, but 2 seconds for that is just way too harsh. if I had to, maybe a half second at most, but nah, 2 seconds is ridiculous, I feel. That's my opinion. Now the two alphas find themselves running Linus turns 6th and 7th. A is in 8th. A has not had a very particularly pleasant start to the race, having that little moment at the exit of Lesmo to a few laps earlier. Dougal running 9th, Epsilon in 10th. Am I thinking correctly? So, no, sorry, it was Epsilon at the moment, not A. A is just, but he's gone backwards nonetheless. He's gone from, I think it was 5th to 8th now, so he'll not be particularly pleased with what's happened here. Dijkstra slowing down. He will, I think, come out, rather rejoin behind A, and everybody has promoted up one position. A now has the feisty, I should say, Dijkstra behind him, but Dijkstra's been pretty damn quick over the course of these past 5 laps? Yeah, 5 laps. Because we're about to start the next lap. It's lap 6 of 9. What about these three? Fancy's doing a fantastic job. Yeah, he's doing, holding off these charge pretty well, not making any mistakes here. Fancy Lux. GMS is getting very, very close to Turbo Boy. Are we going to see a move here on the outside of Turbo Grande maybe? Turbo takes the inside line, hugs the inside line. GMS will have the inside line for the chicane here, and I think he is slightly ahead on track nonetheless. And unless Turbo somehow manages to force GMS off here, I think it is going to be either curtains or it's going to be GMS ahead, and it got very close to curtains, but now the two alphas swap places because of GMS's little excursion there into gravel laying services for the Monza circuit. And now he's down to 6th. A is very close to him, and as we go down through, forgive me for this A, Serralio, is that the correct way to go about it? As we go towards Ascari, I should say. Yeah. This is the little run up towards Ascari. Under the bridge we go. Dijkstra is very close. A is very close. Are we going to see any moves being made here? GMS covers off any chance that A would have had to attack at that point in time. And as we exit Ascari, Dijkstra takes too much curving, takes too much gravel, goes too far off the circuit, but I don't think it should amount in him getting a penalty because he lost a lot more time than he would have possibly gained. Further back, Epsilon's got past Dougal. D-Dubs is not too far behind either. So D-Dubs at this point, I think, is just wanting to aim for that P10 or maybe P9 because that will give him, not the front row, it's a rolling start, so it will give him either P1 or P2 for the race. So we'll pick up on that a little bit later. We start lap 7. The sky is getting overcast, but there was no rain schedule for this race weekend, so I'm not going to do that. I used to predict a lot of rain in my earlier seasons doing comms, but it was well, yes, you should have maybe trim down your rear wing a little bit here, because your teammate seems to be going pretty damn quick here. Into the chicane we go. Turbo has the inside line. Deco trying to find a way past but cannot do so. A gets a much better exit compared to GMS, and as we go towards Lesmo 1, A has the inside line, GMS has the outside. There's a little bit of contact there, and A gets past. GMS goes onto the gravel there, flashes his lights as a sign of disapproval, probably sends it down the inside at the second Lesmo and gets back ahead of A. And that is all going to allow Dijkstra to get past the Lamborghini driver, maybe the Alpha driver as well. Let's have a look. Going under the bridge in towards the Ascari. Are we going to see Dijkstra pull off something very monumental here with a mover on the outside of the Ascari? No, just wasn't close enough there. Oh no, Dijkstra. Oh, that was going so well. The Audi driver looked to be having such a nice run, but in the end it was just a little loss of rear end grip that resulted in the Audi driver. He took too much curbing there. Lucky for him he's not collected the barrier there. That would have given him damage. But now this promotes D-Dubs into P10. And at this point in the race, I think he would be pretty happy with P10, maybe P9, because that gives him the best possible opportunity for the feature race. We'll get back to those guys a little later. A almost going off circuit there. As we start the penultimate lap of this sprint race, GMS is a long way away from any slipstream. Turbo has a penalty. I would like to know why, so I'm going to have a look at why. Was it for Ascari as well? Deco's far enough behind, so it's only on Turbo Boy. So let's have a look here. So this corner, does he cut the exit of Ascari? I think that is the case. Oh no, he takes too much exit curbing there, and yeah, you can see Dykstra going off in the background there, and that's fair enough. I think this is not something that I would really be arguing with. And Deco will get a good run on Turbo, and he will be able to get past even well before we reach the chicane. Now it's Turbo who will have the slipstream, but I don't think he's close enough to make a move here. GMS versus A. This has been very, very feisty in the previous lap. What about this lap? The purple Lamborghini and the very multicolored Alfa Romeo going through the chicane, and A gets past but doesn't get a very good exit here. So once again they're gonna go side by side into the Lesmo corners. This is where it all almost went sour one lap ago, and this time around A is actually racing pretty damn nicely. A and GMS as we go towards the second Lesmo. I think there's a little bit of contact there, but A has now moved up into P6. GMS has gone down the order now to P7. Epsilon in 8th, Google in 9th, G-Dub's 10th, and who is this? The man with the wipers has got a 2-second penalty. What's happened here to Goose? Is that for another chicane? Let's have a look here. I think this is a little more blatant, but again, 2 seconds is a little too harsh, I feel, for that. The game, the penalties sometimes are very, very harsh here. Dykstra and YQ battling it out. Both of them have had, I think, sprints to forget, and they're getting very, very close at the approach to the second Lesmo. Goose couldn't wipe away the penalties. Well, don't discount him. Maybe, who knows, maybe he just might be able to. And as we go towards the Scary, I think Goose will... Oh my word, YQ and Dykstra absolutely going at it. Okay, Houston, are we back? Just gonna confirm that. Okay, Houston, are we back? Yes, we are, and I don't want to hear my voice and create a unnecessary echo, so my apologies for that. Oh, well, absolutely. I think your boss should be very keen to see this as well. I think maybe you can show your boss the stream as well. You are running in a good P7, so maybe he will give you a raise for running inside the top 10. It's a good performance from you nonetheless, but let's have a look at this here. Goose unfortunately getting the penalty, and these two, whoa, they are absolutely elbows out here by Cube and Dykstra. What a way to resume the stream, I think I should say. Yeah. Resume. So these guys, I think, are just going to settle into where they are right now. What about Turbo and Deco? I think Turbo might have a chance into the chicane. What about these three? Fancy is just too far ahead. So these three, I think, is just settled. Unless there's a mistake incoming, they are going to finish where they are right now. LT. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! And the commentator's first strikes again. LT clips the grass on entry and absolutely just ballet dancing over the curbing there. Loses quite a bit of time, but I think he should be able to get away unscathed even with that. What about Turbo and Deco? They are still holding position. JMS and A are also holding position for now. And yeah, I think it's only these two. I think you would you would realistically expect to be trading places right now. LT has the fastest lap, so he had a pretty scary moment at the previous chicane. Let's have a look into Ascari we go. Are we gonna see LT make a just play it safe? No point in taking any undue risks here, and LT will I think just exit Ascari and want to bring it home. No trouble, no fuss. Cherry is gonna finish in third. Deco in I think it's just about gonna be able to hold off a Turbo Boy. As we exit Parabolica, Fancy Locks will come across the line in spectacular fashion to win the race. LT finished in second, Cherry finishes in third. A reasonable finish from him. Deco is going to be fourth, Turbo's fifth. They are taking the classic racing line there. A in 6, JMS 7, Epsilon in 8th after that earlier mistake. Dougal in 9th, and D-Dubs will be 10th, but look how close Vikib and Dijkstra got. Despite their battling, they were able to get pretty damn close to the lower reaches of the top 10. Goose finishes in unlucky 13th. Ningen being on the hards, you wouldn't have expected a whole lot from him in any case. He finishes 14th, and Nate, after that earlier mistake, I don't think just was ever able to recover from that. So with that done, we have the sprint completed. I think Ningen may not need to change his tires for the feature race, and let's find out. Thank you also to GMS for uploading the sprint and the feature. Very appreciative of that. And now we are about to begin the feature race stream, and I'm very quickly going to start the thing here so I don't have a chance to accidentally glance over the. So let's have a look at the tire situation. So D-Dubs finished 10th in the sprint, is P1 for the feature. We tend to see D-Dubs around about this position, and we usually tend to see Fancy Locks around about P10, P9 in most races, in the feature races, I should say. So the Merc is going to start in P1 on the medium, so is Dougal in the Audi, so is Epsilon in the Lamborghini, JMS also on the mediums, and A is the first driver to take a gamble on the hard tires. He is gonna go a little longer into the race, you would expect probably. He's gonna start fifth. Turbo also on the hards in sixth. Deco in seventh is on the medium, so similar strategy to his teammate. Cherry in eighth on the hards as well. LT in ninth on the mediums, and Fancy on hards as well. So hard runners are Fancy, Cherry, Turbo, and A. Yeah, that is four drivers on the hard tires. So interesting to see that the two Lamborghinis have swapped strategies as well. I think we'll find out how it pans out for them over the course of the next 24 laps. Cube on the mediums, Goose on the mediums. What about Ningen? He has continued to stay on the hards. I was just expecting that, but I wasn't expecting that. He probably would have taken a gamble for the mediums, I thought, but nonetheless, Ningen is continuing his liking for the hard tires. Nate is gonna start in 14th on the hards as well, and I do not know why Dijkstra is 15th, as in why he's last. Because if I'm not wrong, he was 12th behind YQ. So I think for some reason, once again, 2 weekends in a row, I think it's now that drivers towards the outside the top 10 are out of position. But nonetheless, I think that is something drivers need to figure out. But yes, Ningen does love those hards, it seems. Very keen to. Oh, he had a quali ban. Oh, all right. I don't think I've seen the stewards report. I think it came out pretty late or just before the race, something like that. So I think I've missed the stewards report there. But nonetheless, let's get going. I assume the stewards report. Well, my headphone does not like me doing comms, it seems, right now because it is disconnected once again. So I'm not sure what seems to be the issue. It's pretty snugly into the console's USB port, so I don't know what's the issue there. Well, nonetheless, let's get going. I hope no more issues plague me, but I think leader will also hope for the same, that no more issues in his race. He's in a very good P1 and he will lead the field away at beautiful Monza. Dougal in P2. So let's see who will be the biggest beneficiary here of the slipstream effect. It is very, very powerful around here. And as we go towards the Curva Grande, D-Dubs has a reasonable lead right now. It's actually Dougal who's going to come under pressure from Epsilon. So the Brit attacking his fellow Brit as we go towards Curva Grande. Around the outside, I think he's going to try and move, is he? Epsilon. I think he'll stick it down the inside into the chicane, but I don't think a whole lot will come off it. JMS and A are battling it out. And they're still going at it. So the battle carries on into the feature race. A tries to send it down the inside. And JMS once again has to take to the gravel there and almost takes out Turbo Boy, but well controlled by JMS after that off-track movement. Deco now gets ahead as well. So JMS going backwards, tumbling down the order. Cherry, I think, had gained a place on LT and now has lost it again. No, I think, yeah, LT's managed to find his way past Cherry. Y-Cube has got a great run, but he's just boxed in here. As we go towards the Scary, I could hear some barrier clanging there. I think that is just some issue with the game because I could hear it on every single lap of my race as well. And that is Fancy Locks absolutely diving headfirst into the barriers. So this is unfortunately a trend that I have seen. I can see Fancy Locks absolutely dominate the sprint, but then just have the most damned luck in the feature race. So what's happened here? Oh, he's just lost it all on his own. And he's on the hards and he's got engine damage as well. Oh, that is the worst possible race start for Fancy. He is now at the back of the grid. Oh, that is just so sad for him. Y-Cube, did he bounce over the curving at the exit of Ascari there? Let's have a look. Oh no, he went wide here. Yeah, I think this may have been the cause of it, but did he also go over the curving? No. So that's Fancy diving headfirst into the wall and of half a second penalty for Y-Cube. Cherry and Cherry and Dykstra battling it out. So Cherry has not had the ideal start to the race. He's gone from 8th down to 10th, which may soon become 11th if Dykstra is able to get past. Dykstra up from 15th already up to 10th, so a very good start for him. He will be pretty happy with that. And this is where it's getting feisty here. The two Alphas and Turbo Boy. JMS will get a double slipstream here. It's really careful to choose your line here perfectly. He's going to help out his teammate here. And I think a few races ago it was the Alphas who gave each other a nice bump draft. I think it was Daytona where these two were helping each other out. And it was once again over there JMS helping out Deco. And look at what has got them. Oh, what's happening there? That little bump draft by JMS has helped out his teammate and himself because now they find themselves in a pretty good position. LT Rocker and Turbo Boy. Also up front, I think there's a little skirmish going on. We'll get to that. How kind of my headphone, but nonetheless, LT Rocker and Turbo, let's have a look what happened here. So Turbo already forces LT off the circuit there onto the grass, and that had to be a Code Brown moment there, I'm sure, for LT. Y-Cube can't do a whole lot, but up front the lead has changed hands because Dougal has found a way down the inside on D-Dubs and now is in P1. Epsilon and P3 can just see all this unfolding ahead of him. They're all on the same tires, so you would expect them to have about similar levels of pace. D-Dubs does not defend against Epsilon. I thought he would put up more of a fight there, try to force the Lambo into just making a bit of a mistake there, but no. Actually, D-Dubs losing 2 places in this very short span of time. And it's now Dougal in P1, Epsilon P2, and D-Dubs will now come under pressure from A, who's on the hards. Deco and JMS, good teamwork by them. Now they find themselves in a little bit of breathing room from Turbo Boy. LT, he will not be happy with that little moment at the Curva Grande, but as we exit Ascari, it's actually going to be YQ who's going to be very, very upset because it's going to set him back a little bit. So I don't think Cherry's too far back to benefit from that, and this is getting very, very feisty here. I think A has sent it down the inside on D-Dubs, and well, can you blame him? Look at the way he's gaining at the run-up towards the Parabolica. It's his home race as well. He will get a little bit of extra support and support from the fans and sends it down the inside at Parabolica. D-Dubs cannot do a whole lot to defend because he is looking for a switchback move here, and D-Dubs gets back into P3, and look at that. Deco is, I think he just realized that these two ahead were battling it out, and he has managed to find a way past and pick up the fastest lap in the process. So well done to Deco, and it's now GMS, his teammate, who will be very eager to get past the Lamborghini as well. LT and Turbo have swapped places. Let's have a look at where that happened. So, it's Turbo just went wide. Alright, so, well, you can never discount a driver who has the wipers on. So outside the top 10 we have Goose, Dykstra, Nate, Ningen who's on the hards, and Fancy who is just having a hard time on those hards as well. Epsilon leads. Sorry. These two are also battling it out. I just wanted to have a look at that. Epsilon and Dougal. Epsilon gets ahead. A and D-Dub. So we were focusing on the battle for P3. I completely missed the battle for P1. Dougal now losing the place and now very eager to regain the place on Epsilon. Let's find out what they're able to do about it. So as we go towards the Curva Grande, you can see Deco close to D-Dubs. We can see A close to Deco. Likewise with GMS. A lot of drivers will be very, very close. It's some matter of when you decide to pounce on and make a move on the driver ahead. So Dougal trying the outside line. Epsilon has covered the inside. I think, will Dougal send it down the inside? I don't think he will. And that is getting very, very feisty. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. What's happened there? Whatever's happened there? How is Deco P2? So he got a fantastic run. D-Dubs. He did overtake D-Dubs at Parabolica, but this time around I think it's a little more concrete for him. Epsilon goes wide. Dougal follows him off in sympathy. Deco has very little room to get by, but he manages to get by. A gets past Dougal as well. JMS is now in 4th, not even in 5th. Well, who's on board should I use? There's so much happening here. D-Dubs and Dougal there, slowing down. A getting past, JMS getting past. Epsilon still holds the lead. And Dougal onto the gravel there. Dougal has a massive moment and almost takes out Turbo Boy. Well, in the span of a few corners, this race has got very, very... Well, when it's getting interesting, I don't know why my headphones need to trouble me in this manner. Turbo Boy, let's have a look from this perspective here. Dougal, swiping across, not a whole lot he could do. He was out of control. Turbo has some damage. YQ, after that earlier penalty, now finds himself at the back of this long train of cars. But look at this, Deco is now in P2. A is in P3. It is his home race after all, so he will be very, very eager to want to make some moves. GMS, well, the Alpha seems to be a very nicely settled car. You would expect, I think, it to have a good run here. What's happened there? Epsilon, he's gone wide, and I think Deco will be able to breeze past. And Deco does get past, and he's ahead going into Parabolica. So in the span of one lap, Deco has gone from P4 to P1. And D-Dubs in the span of I think about a lap or so has gone from P1 to P6, and he just seems to be not having a particularly enjoyable time. Nobody is taking the track here. Well, I think in F1 term that may have been a track limit penalty, but here it's not supposed to be off track, that part of the circuit. Epsilon with the slipstream gets ahead of Deco. JMS can see these two battling ahead, and he has a Lamborghini troubling himself as well. So two Lambos and two Alphas really hassling one another. Deco and JMS a little bit of contact. Epsilon not having the best of runs through the chicane here. LT Rocker running into the back of A. D-Dubs with a 1.5 second penalty. How did that happen? He's on the tail of LT Rocker's car. Look how far behind he is right now. So just everything chaotic is about to unfold here. And at the end of all this, D-Dubs is going to find himself at the back of LT Rocker's car, giving him a little bit of a bump. I'll actually was gonna see why D-Dubs got the penalty there, so let's have a look. Oh. Yeah, again, that should have been penalized, but 1.5 is... Sometimes this game is just a little too unpredictable. That definitely should have been penalized, but maybe half or 1 second would have been enough. Then again, maybe I think I'm being a little too lenient at times. Epsilon has a huge moment at the exit of the second Lesmo, but they still are gonna go in the order that they set up on this lap. Deco, I don't think will try a move here, or will he? No. Gets very close to the tail end of that Lamborghini, and Age, I think, just went a little bit deep into that corner there. As we exit the Ascari chicane, going towards Parabolica, D-Dubs will have to slow down rather quite a bit, and he will, I think, fall behind Dijkstra. So Dijkstra has now found himself in P8 from P15. He and YQ were battling it out pretty intensely at the end of the sprint race, but the intense battles are just going to carry on here. LT Rocker is trying to find a way past A. To Parabolica we go. Deco and Epsilon also battling it out. Epsilon going for the switchback, but Deco covers it off. LT makes a straightforward move on the inside, almost loses the car there, but holds it somehow. That seemed like it was going to go into the wall, but well held from LT Rocker. Everybody kicking up a lot of dust there, but Deco once again takes the lead. Epsilon will get a very good slipstream here, and GMS actually will get a double slipstream, and he is actually, I think, best poised to make a move, but it's going to be 3 wide at the Curva Grande. This, well, you would have expected it to end in tears, but they have managed to do very, very well to keep it on track and keep it clean. And it's now Epsilon in P1. Deco has gone from 1st to 3rd. GMS has gone from 4th to 2nd. LT is all over the back of Deco's car, and what's happening here? Another penalty. What's going on here? Come on, 1.5 seconds for that. Well, it is consistent, the harshness of these penalties, but I wouldn't say I agree with most of them. Yeah, I don't get it. Oh no, D-Dubs again. 3 seconds, so this has to be something terrible. It's a terrible thing that he must have done to get 3 seconds. Let's have a look here. No, come on, 3 seconds for that. Come on. Really? 2 laps in a row, D-Dubs is going to have to serve a penalty. Dijkstra and Turbo battling it out. Dijkstra gets past Turbo Boy, and oh, these penalties are getting on my nerves. They were getting on my nerves yesterday when I got just the 1 penalty. You can imagine D-Dubs' frustration here with getting 2 penalties on 2 successive laps, consecutive laps. Into Ascari we go. GMS will not take any unnecessary risks here, although he almost loses the car. They're taking too much curbing. That's a little bit of a gamble there. LT gives Deco a bump draft. Deco gives JMS a bump draft, and they all will get past Epsilon. Will A get past Epsilon? I think he will. What about these guys? Whoa! Epsilon, I'm sure, will be not ghosted at this point. YCube and Dijkstra once again continuing the battle into the feature race, and they're still going at it. Dijkstra has gone from 15th to 5th, and this is getting ridiculous here. There's so many battles to follow. Dijkstra and A. Dijkstra gives A a bit of a bump draft. YCube does not want to do the same for Dijkstra here, but these three, what's it going to be? Look at this. I'm going to take a moment here to just go into race photos here, because look at this ridiculousness. They're separated by nothing. This is the top 3 in the race. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What's it going to be here? JMS, Deco, LT. You would expect them to want to get ahead of the guy in front of them. But if you don't time it well, you could really cause yourself a lot of grief. And in this situation, these two are teammates. So one bit of misjudgment could lead to a lot of, a very memorable post-race debrief. Dijkstra's up into 4th. He is on a charge here. Through the Curva Grande we go. YCube behind him. A ahead of him, and down the inside goes Dijkstra. Are we gonna see? Oh, there's a little bit of contact there, but they keep it on the circuit. And A loses a place, and Epsilon. Whoa. Well, where did Epsilon pick up another penalty? So he had the penalty here. So I will get back to the action in a moment. Turbo's behind him. Epsilon, I don't understand, where has he picked up this penalty? Oh really? I don't know what to do. I'm a little bit at odds with this one. Maybe it is justified, this one, because he did go off circuit at a part where he was not supposed to. Epsilon has another penalty, so he has gone from P1 down to P7, and it just seems to be going from bad to worse for him. JMS still leads Deco, and I think what these two are going to do is just hold position for now. At this point, I think even if Deco may say that I have a lot more pace, it doesn't make sense. LT is right behind them. If they go about trying to swap positions at this point, it would be very, very detrimental to their race. I think what they're going to do is just give each other a bit of a bump draft every single lap and pull away from the field. They're actually doing that pretty well there. Dijkstra almost losing the rear end, going off track there. And that's going to allow A to get past, that's going to allow YCube to get past. Epsilon has the penalty, he will have to slow down. And Epsilon, I don't think will be overtaken by Turbo, where he covers the inside and just wants to avoid this race going any worse for him. Well, this time around, I think it's that previous lap penalty for Epsilon, I think maybe justified, because that is not where you go off track. So, well, let's see what how the race unfolds for him. A little bump draft by Deco, and that allows GMS to retain his hold on P1 for now, and I am assuming it is going to stay this way. Or is it? No, Deco wants to go down the inside. GMS will cover it off, but that is exactly what I was saying. You just do not want to try to swap positions at this point, because it will only result in trouble. And I'm sure, given the harshness of the penalties here, I'm sure the LT Rocker's perspective, this would have looked ridiculous. JMS has just completely was distracted by his teammates' move there, and that will allow LT Rocker to go from P3 to P1. Oh, how quickly fortunes can change in a race like this. In one singular corner, JMS goes from P1 to P3. Alfa Romeo 1-2 becomes an Alfa Romeo 2-3, and LT can see just craziness unfold ahead of him, and he goes up to P1. A is just gonna be eager to hope that the three ahead come to blows. Dijkstra and YCube battling it out. Epsilon on their tail. Turbo's a little further back. YCube does not get a very good exit there, and Epsilon dives head first into the wall there. Was there contact with somebody? Lifted up. I think that is sensible from you, JMS. But given the harshness this game has shown over the past few laps, I wouldn't have expected anything less than a 15-second penalty for that. Epsilon just dives into the wall. But yeah, the game's penalty system really leaves a lot to be desired, and Epsilon has a pretty bad rejoin there, because he finds himself still dancing around in the gravel there, and he's about to meet Fancy Locks, who has also been having a pretty terrible race right now. Dijkstra, mighty well. So much is happening here. LT Rocker, Deco. Are we gonna see Deco try a move? He gives LT a bit of a bump draft here. GMS will pick up a distant slipstream. It is lap 8 of 24. And there is a long way to go in this race, and there is a lot to be seen as yet. We are ready to see the pit stop phase as well. YCube in the Jag gives A bit of a bump draft there, and GMS saying he forgot he got the fastest lap. Well, just randomly we would get fastest laps, even the sprint race as well. It was, I think I picked up the fastest lap at some point in the sprint in my race. But just hooking up the correct lap, never know which lap could be the one. YCube gets a pretty problematic exit out of the chicane there. Turbo's too far back and Dijkstra's got a penalty. Well, if I keep rewinding, it's just going to be a stream that goes on forever. So you would have to assume that it's probably an unfair penalty that he's got. I think that's how I'm going to go around with most of these ones now. But yeah, Dijkstra, he has had an astronomical rise up the order from P15 to P5, but his rise is about to be halted here because he is about to have to serve a penalty here. I think I have missed this. Have I? Yeah, okay. Deco gets past LT, so I was following the midfield here. And it was a pretty clean move by Deco. I was expecting some argy-bargy there. And yeah, sometimes you just pick up the fastest lap out of nowhere. As LT has said in the chat that he just got the fastest lap without getting a tow. So you never know, sometimes traffic can be your friend, sometimes traffic can be your biggest enemy. A going slightly off circuit, Dijkstra will be forced to slow down here as per the game, and that will allow Y-Cube to get past. That may also, no, Turbo. Well, somehow, for whatever reason, whenever I'm trying to see if Turbo is going to have an advantage in this situation where another driver is having to slow down, he's just too far back. So maybe he's just not enjoying the hard tire, maybe the Porsche is not particularly enjoyable around here. Maybe it just doesn't have the slipstream, the all-important slipstream here. As we can see, Deco and LT Rocker. Deco is being helped out by LT Rocker here, but I'm sure LT will be wanting to go for the move into the upcoming chicane as we go through the Curva Grande. Are we going to see a move here on Deco? No, LT is too far back, and yes, Cherry, I think you can see the two initials of his YouTube username. I was a little surprised myself at first, but yeah, it is LT Rocker in the chat with us. GMS behind LT. LT trying to separate the alphas. Well, yes, definitely. I am seeing the alpha dominance that was there, I think on lap 6 or lap 7. Being broken up here. So, smart play by LT, if that is, yeah, he has admitted to it there. So, well, that is pretty smart. If you separate the teammates, there's less amount of the teamwork that they can do to hassle you. So, well done, LT Rocker, in the heat of the moment to figure out a strategy like that. So, he is doing pretty well in terms of race management. GMS is close, but I don't think he's got the best exit there. The pair of them go off circuit. LT has a massive moment, and that allows the alpha dominance to resume. James gets back ahead of LT Rocker and will now help out his teammate. We will have a look further back if something feisty is about to occur. Goose has his wipers on and he has managed to get up to P8. Let's see if we can move up the order a little more. Dijkstra gives Y-Cube a little bump drop there. JMS and Deco very, very close. This is where it all unfolded for them a few laps ago. Unraveled, I should say, a few laps ago. And to the chicane we go. This time around, they are going to take the chicane normally. No ballerinas, no nothing, but JMS doing a bit of gravel laying service there. And that will allow LT Rocker to get between the Alfa Romeos once again. So this just seems to be the trend here. For some or the other reason, JMS and LT may trade places. Deco is a spectator, but if he gets a bad exit, he may end up in P3. This is just what's happening here. The top three very, very close to swapping positions every other lap. These two have swap positions more times than, I think, twice in this lap alone, and I think it will settle in for now. And LT saying he should have been played a little dirtier. Well, it is very respectful, I would say. So maybe that is what the stewards would like. Yeah, definitely there could have been a little more elbows out racing from you, LT, but I think this is fair enough. Let's see how the race ends, because we're preventing the alphas from getting an advantage here. Being able to box you in with some nice teamwork. A is in a... Well, he is a little further ahead of Dijkstra right now. Y-Cube is now behind Dijkstra, and somebody had pitted. Let me have... So it's Turbo Boy who's pitted from the... Wait, why? What? He's pitting on from the hards. He has enough fuel, and he has pretty good tires. I don't know why Turbo Boy is pitted right now. We're going on the mediums. Well, let's see, maybe the mediums may help him out. And yeah, fair enough, but lap 11, you have to do more than half the race distance on the mediums now. So that would be a bit of a gamble, I feel, but well, let's see how Turbo handles it and how the Peugeot handles it. Dijkstra is getting a amazing bit of tow here from A. There's a little contact from what I could see on the replay here, and Dijkstra gets ahead of the Lamborghini, gets a decent exit, and I think we'll hold on to that P4 for now. Y-Cube, oh no, another penalty for a driver at that particular chicane, and that is getting ridiculous here. And A barges his way past Dijkstra. Y-Cube has the penalty, but that will not stop him from trying to battle it out right now with Dijkstra as we go down the hill, plunge down the hill underneath the old banking, and this is very, very close. I think that's just Dijkstra letting others be aware as well. I think quite a few drivers have done that, not just Dijkstra. I think A did that right now to Dijkstra. Y-Cube having to slow down significantly. Cherry is too far back to benefit from that. And Goose now finds himself in P7, Dijkstra and A still battling it out. What about these three? GMS still behind LT. LT trying to create a buffer between Deco and GMS. What about these two? Are we going to see another position swap at the chicane? Are we going to see Goose with his wipers enabled, able to get past the two ahead? Cherry pits from the hards. D-Dubs is now in P8, and Ningen really loves these hard tires, and he is going to carry on for one more lap. He is currently running P9, but you would assume the order would be a little shuffled up after the pit stop phase. Goose very, very close to A and gets past A, not without a little bit of contact, but not without kissing the wall there. So what happened here? Good slipstream. What happened here? So I'm missing quite a bit of action here. GMS getting a very good run with the double slipstream here, and LT keeps it clean, and well, yeah, that's a pretty straightforward move there. GMS getting ahead of LT, and yeah, what's happened here? So let's have a look from Goose's perspective here. So I don't understand how this happened, but somehow he finds himself in the wall and at the middle of the chicane. That's going to allow Goose, that's going to allow D-Dubs to get past Goose. Y-Cube with his penalty is too far back. A is now in 5th, Dijkstra in 4th. These three still battling it out. So who has pitted right now? Epsilon was on the softs. Was he? Epsilon is going to emerge on the... Wait, what's happened here? I'm not sure. Let me figure it out in a moment here. Epsilon, he was on the soft tires. I think I've missed this. Somehow Epsilon pitted. He came out on the soft tires. I think I've missed something here. Epsilon he is on the soft tires. He is going to pit and come out again on the soft tires for some reason. Nate pits, Epsilon into the pits, Turbo has pitted, he will stay out. So I think I've missed something further down the order. Yellow flag there, so let's get back to the action. Those in front, and let's see what these three decide to do. So we are approaching half race distance, and for once LT's tires are in the same, I want to say, window as those around them, because usually the Subaru has been very, very aggressive on its tires, the WRX. So there's another car, the BRZ, I'm not wrong, the BRZ GT3 car, that is very, very kind on its tires, but it is also not particularly good in a straight line. So I need to specify which Subaru I'm talking about. Deco going into the Parabolica, exiting the Parabolica. Is he going to dive into the pit lane? Or is he going to carry on for one more lap? I think he will carry on for one more lap. So will JMS and so will LT Rocker. What about Dijkstra? Dijkstra, oh, he does dive into the pit. He was trying to, I think, do a bit of a fake out there, and that will allow A to get P4, but Dijkstra will be on fresher tires. Y-Cube in 5th. D-Dubs. Well, D-Dubs could have considered pitting, but I think maybe he wants to go onto the soft tires. Goose, I'm pretty sure the McLaren being a little kinder on his tires will allow Goose to go a little bit longer into the race, probably onto the soft tires. Ningen, I think the trouble for him will be the fuel, because he has enough tire life to get him towards to lap even I think 16 or 17, something like that, but he will be pretty good, I think. Dijkstra's played it safe, alright, so he's going to go from mediums to the hard tires. He's going to be ahead of Turbo Boy, well ahead of Turbo actually. Fancy in P9, but he has yet to make his pit stop. Running in clear air may just help out Fancy's cause here. He was doing pretty well in the sprint in clear air, so let's see how it unfolds here. And yeah, fuel saving. I wish I had known about this in my race, because I ran out of fuel on my way to the race. So fuel saving is very, very critical and crucial here. LT has enough fuel, but does he have enough tires to get to the soft phase, or will he even risk the soft phase at all, given the tire wear on his car? Deco is not going to go into the pits. GMS will also not go into the pits, and neither will LT Rocker. A, I think, will pit. No, A will stay out. He is getting close to critical with fuel, so we're all short shifting. Yeah, I think that is to be expected. You need to do quite a bit of fuel conservation here. It's actually Deco with the lowest amount of fuel. He is leading. He's had to push quite a bit, so I think you would expect that to be the case. It is LT who has the best fuel of the lot, top 3. A has stayed out. Did anybody pit? Fancy Locks is pitted, alright. So Fancy Locks comes into the pit lane. Dijkstra will get ahead. He's played it safe with strategy, and we can't blame him really, given how quickly sometimes the tires can wear out in these races. Ningen is gonna have to pit this lap. D-Dub is running out of tires. Goose, well, his rear left is not in good condition. I think that may have been exacerbated by that spin earlier on. LT is right in the back of GMS's Alpha, and I'm assuming they're gonna pit either this or the next lap. Deco's critical on fuel. I would assume that he will pit first, and GMS gives him a little nice bump there, bump draft as we go into Parabolica. Deco, I'm assuming he's gonna pit. Will he? Nope, he's gonna stay out. So is GMS, and so is LT Rocker. A is going to pit, alright, so no option for A there. Y-Cube is taking a chance with one more lap. What about these three? Are we going to see GMS and Deco swap positions, or are we just going to see GMS help out his teammate on this lap? Since this is not F1 and there's no sharing of pit boxes, I'm assuming the pair of them will dive into the pit lane together. GMS has the inside line, but I think just holding that line would have compromised his exit out of the chicane. LT's tires are starting to beg for mercy at this point. A emerges on the mediums, and he is behind Dijkstra, and he is probably going to be behind Turbo Boy as well. So A losing a few places, he will be hoping that he can make up for it with the fresher tires. Dougal and Cherry. Dougal has, the pair of them have put it. So Cherry is trying to find a way past the Audi. What about this? Oh no, come on. Another penalty. D-dubs. Yeah, so some of these definitely should be penalties, but their harshness is really up for debate here. Deco, I think, will be buying GMS whatever beverage that GMS likes. I would assume beer, but GMS will be gifted a very nice glass of beer by his teammate there, because I'm sure this is very good teamwork. Deco's critical on fuel. I'm sure he will be putting the car in a low fuel mix right now. GMS will be helping out his teammate, helping him get into the pit lane. Deco indicating that he's indicating his intention to enter the pits. GMS also, I'm sure, will do so. LT Rocker is going to stay out. He wants to go onto the soft tires. At this point, I'm sure 16 laps on the mediums, but his front left is in a dire situation. Will he be able to get to the pits without getting a puncture? Y-Cube out of fuel, Goose staying out. You would expect that. And yeah, GMS, I think you can let us know which is your favorite beverage. So I think Deco needs to treat you to that right about now. Dykstra, where will he come out in regards to the guys around him? So I think Y-Cube will lose track position. Deco and GMS emerge out of the pits, and it's now GMS ahead of Deco. So yeah, GMS has taken a little less fuel than Deco. Dykstra is ahead of, well, Y-Cube is actually not even in the picture here. He is closer to Dougal, I think, than he will be to A. And I think track position is a lot more important than people may have realized earlier on. Myself included, I didn't realize how important track position would be after the pit stop. So let's see what these guys can do. D-Dubs is just teetering on the brink of a front left puncture any moment now. LT Rocker is in a similar situation. So whiskey, I think the two of you can share a drink then. In that case, that would be the best course of action, I feel, right now. The two Alfa Romeo drivers, I think, they're just planning out their next outing, because they have done very good teamwork here, and they are running in, I think, a net P1, P2, depends on what LT can do. And yet this is exactly why it was a gamble. You can see here, he will put the power down, he will have the throttle at full force, but there will be no power being delivered to the engine. There is no power being delivered to the engine because he is out of fuel. This will be very problematic for LT. Goose has just enough fuel to come into the pit lane, and well, I think I've only ever had actually, I don't think I've ever had any Irish whiskey in this, so I will take your word for it. D-Dubs also fits, and it is going to be the Irishman JMS play who enjoys a nice whiskey, who is going to take the lead of the race, because I'm sure LT exits the pits. Alright, so this may not be over yet. He has taken on less fuel than the two ahead of him. How is this going to pan out in the grand scheme of things for LT? Because he is going to be a little ways behind the pair of them, and this situation, I think is exactly what LT wanted to avoid, is having GMS and Deco bum drafting one another all the way to the finish. LT gets a little snap there and gets a penalty. So we will have a look at this, because he was at one point contending for the win. He could still be. Don't discount, the Subaru has been pretty damn quick, and I don't know. See, that is on the edge. I would assume that should get a penalty because he did go over track limits, but and 1 second is a little too harsh. Thing is, this is now going to allow Dykstra to get a lot closer to the podium than he could have ever thought. He started 15th, he was last. He is now running 4th, and he can see P3 in the distance. P5 is not too far behind either. Turbo Boy is, I think, got his act together on these mediums. He was the first driver to pit of this top 10. First driver from the top 10 to pit. A has pitted later, but he's just not able to get close enough. So I think A will just want to hope to be able to get past Turbo. LT had to slow down, and LT is 2/3 Scottish, so maybe you can get in touch with GMS sometime. He can let you know the best beverage options near yourself. The two Alphas are going to trade places in Monza, Scotland. Yeah, indeed. Deco, sorry, not. You're supposed to get in touch with Deco. Deco is Scottish. GMS is Irish. Sorry, I mixed up the two over there. But nonetheless, the top three are going to be enjoying some champagne. Is that F1 terminology? Is that too much F1 terminology? But nonetheless, LT's in a good position. Dykstra is close, but he is on the hards. And he has a very fusty Turbo Boy behind him. Turbo Boy has a little further behind. Bicube is too far back to make a difference right now. Cherry is running in 8th and has, I think for the most part of the feature race, has had a pretty lonely race. Fancy has damage. So what has happened here to the BMW driver? How has he ended up with damage? Did he go over the curbing there? And oh, what's happened here between Dougal and Goose? Whoa! What's happened here? Cherry running P8. Oh, Dougal hits Goose, and Goose, despite his wipers, is stranded in the middle of the track, and he has rear end damage. Dougal is out of fuel. He is going to make another pit stop. Goose had made his pit stop, but now he finds himself out of the top 10. And that chaos has allowed Fancy Locks to get into P9, T-Dubs in 10th. And I will need to pause for a moment here. Yes, sorry for that. I received a phone call. And yes, that was a lot like Carlos and Oli in the race this past weekend. So we resume the action, and we are going to see Fancy Locks. Despite his damage, I think we'll be just happy to get back into the top 10. Something I have not mentioned this entire season, and I'm very sorry for that, is the championship standings, which I will definitely be mentioning at the end of the race. We'll have a look at the top two for a moment here. Deco and GMS. Deco will still be able to I think hold off his I don't think they are looking to do a whole lot of position swapping here. They just want to keep LT at bay, and they are doing so pretty well. LT, without any slipstream, has got the fastest lap. So I think there you go. The Subaru is pretty damn quick, but these two, with their teamwork, I think, yeah, it's the power of friendship that's going to take GMS and Deco to what seems like a guaranteed P1 and P2 right now. Lap 19 of 24. So still a few laps to go. Dykstra still has a very quick Turbo Boy right behind him. A is slowly and steadily getting closer to the back of Turbo's car. Let's see if he'll be able to get any closer. He kicks up a little bit of gravel there. Y-Cube just not close enough, and standings are, while positions are like they are. Yeah, indeed, I should be aware of the championship standings by now, but yeah, I think I've missed having a look at the order over the past few races. GMS is setting purple sectors, going over the curbing there a little bit aggressively as GMS, but I think these two will just be wanting to hold position for now. Bump draft their way to the end of lap 24, and I think just bring home nice position 1 and 2 trophy. LT, I think he will just settle in right now. I think he's aware that the two ahead are probably indulging in some bump draft shenanigans. Somebody is in the pit lane, that is Epsilon, who has made, I think this is his third pit stop. He went from, I think it was hards to softs, and he's back out on the softs. He has a blue flag. He is a lap down. Nate is far enough ahead of Deco that he won't have to worry, but yeah, it's not been a very good race for Epsilon. LT will not be able to do a whole lot. I think we can focus on this battle here because this is getting feisty. Lap 20, Dijkstra versus A versus Turbo Boy. Y-Cube still too far behind. A cannot find a way past Dijkstra. Turbo is I think just looking to hold position here. So yeah, I think I made a bit of a lane here. Turbo got a good run here on A, but he chose to back out of the move there. Fair enough. On display could have resulted in himself and A going off circuit. And this little battle is going to result in Dijkstra still holding position. Y-Cube getting a little bit closer. Cherry and Fancy are... Cherry's too far behind to get involved in this battle there. So this is the battle for P4. We will have to see how this unfolds over the next 4 laps once we cross the line. We have the 5 stage drivers next to each other, Turbo, A and Dijkstra. Well, I hope the final 3 words of your comment don't come to fruition because they are really driven a very good race, all 3 of them. Dijkstra is gone from 15th to 4th. A has, it's his home race, and Turbo is, I think, just wanting to have a clean race as well. A takes to the gravel, and that will allow Turbo to get past. And look who's joining the battle here. Y-Cube is very eager to get involved in this battle. His teammate is not racing today. Not Klingon, it's not Star Trek, sorry. Kling Beast, the Great Dane. He's not racing here. And if I'm not wrong, he was the championship leader for a little while going into this race. So I think it could be very interesting how the championship plays out by the end of the season. Given that Kling was very, very close to the top of the field. Y-Cube gets past A, Turbo takes to the grass but goes off the grass as swiftly as he went onto it. And A trying to battle it out with Y-Cube. There's going to be some contact there, and I'm assuming this will not end well for one of them, and it ends up being Y-Cube who will have to take to the gravel there. And if he was, well, yeah, we have seen Kling just play it silent and just without a lot of contact. He just silently goes up the order and stays there. That's what Kling has done for most of the season. This time around, well, I hope we see him back next week. But for now, we are looking at the battle this week between Turbo, A and Dijkstra. So it is getting very close between all of them. You really can't call it. Y-Cube will be upset with how the moment that chicane went. Deco is far enough ahead. GMS is second, so I think they are going to keep it that way. At most, there's going to be a few bump drafts, and they're going to start taking care of their tires a little bit more. So I think we can focus our undivided attention on this. Is the battle for P4. Dijkstra is not too far ahead of these two, so he will have to put up a very strong defense to keep these guys behind. 3 laps to go until the end, and unfortunately I will have to rush after the race ends, so I will be going through the standings. I will have a proper look at it before the next race at Spa, which is bound to be a pretty interesting one. A and Turbo were very close, but oh, what's happened there? I think YQ got a good run. Turbo takes to the gravel, and that YQ is not close enough to make the move there. Cherry is too far back. Fancy is. Well, Fancy got a very good second half of the race. He's back in the points after a pretty disastrous lap 1. Ningen has got rid of the hard tires. Can you believe it? He is now on the mediums. He is running in 11th. He can see Gr3 in the distance here. I think I need to reset my headphones. It's very frustrating to have it disconnect every now and then. But yeah, Ningen could still get into the top 10 here if D-Dubs runs out of tires. These guys, well, you can never really discount any of them. YCube trying to go down the inside, and I think Turbo Boy will not fight it too much. YCube gets ahead, and yeah, he did. Somebody who has not betrayed what he stands for is Goose. He still has his wipers enabled, so never say never. Goose could somehow gain a lot of time. 9.5 seconds. Whoa, what's happening here? A 3-second penalty. You would assume some of that would be for... He's pitted again. He gets a penalty for cutting the pit exit. Yeah, 9.5 seconds. I just had to look at what happened to Epsilon. I was just going through the order there. 3 seconds. That is very harsh on Epsilon to get the penalty for that. He lets D-Dubs by. And as he goes towards the chicane, what's going to happen here? Which is going to result in... I think he's just given up on the race at this point. You can't blame him. He's running in 15th. The next driver is so far ahead. It's just... Well, they are on the same lap for now, but Epsilon is having a disastrous race here. I don't know. Yeah, that's very harsh. I think the game should be a little more lenient with that, but come on, that is... I think Epsilon is just frustrated, and we can't blame him here. He's just wanting to get to the end of the race. Testing, yeah, I think you can expect that to be the case. Maybe just gathering some data for A. Maybe trying to help out A. Yeah, 9.5 is ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen that. Ever, pretty much. We are on the penultimate lap of the race. Deco leads, as you would expect, as per the championship. We will have a look at that in a moment. GMS is gonna help out his teammate here as much as he can. LT's gotten a lot closer to the 2 ahead, but it is this battle that we're really looking out for. Dijkstra versus A versus YCube, and don't discount Turbo Boy. Oh no, YCube has a penalty, and I'm sure it has to be for that damn chicane. Let's have a look here. Oh, yeah. Again, I am not for some of these. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get a penalty, but you should. It shouldn't be this harsh. The penalties. Penalties are way too harsh around here. So we'll have a look at Turbo is... Well, you can see YCube has the penalty there. And yeah, I think LT, the way you've closed up to the 2 ahead of you, definitely the WRX has a lot of pace in a straight line. This could have been a very different race, but unfortunately that's just sometimes how racing goes. YCube will have to slow down immensely. Cherry is too far back, so I think YCube will settle into P7 at the end of this race, because I think that's what it's gonna amount to. The 2.5 second penalty, that is so frustrating for him, I'm sure. LT has got another fastest lap without a toe. Yeah, indeed. So I think if what you said is right, it's the fastest lap in the sprint and feature without a toe. So very well done. And yeah, their tires are in pretty bad condition. Usually I say that about you, LT, so I'm a little used to have you happy with your tire situation for once. These two, I think they just want to play it very, very safe. And who is that ahead? That must be Nate, who is, I think, just wanting to bring the car home. GMS and Deco can see him ahead, and I don't think they will be particularly eager to do anything risky here, given their tire situation. You can see how gingerly they're putting down the power there. No need to tax the tires any more than necessary. So calm and composed with the throttle. You would think that they are on their in lap already, but this is the final lap of the race. And here, chronic tire saving, you have to do that. LT's front left, however, though I said that earlier, LT, your front left is not in particularly good condition yourself. So let's see, through a scurry we go. It is the final lap, so this could have been a very different race. You're right, LT, without the 1 second penalty. So how quickly it all can change here. A is very close to Dijkstra. Dijkstra goes wide, and Dijkstra almost wipes out A on his return, but well controlled by Dijkstra there. We will get to this in a moment, I think. We'll have a look at this. The race finish. Deco will win the race, and from what I've just had a look at my phone, he will take the championship lead with this. Well, very well done from both the Alpha drivers. LT finishes the race without fuel, but he finishes in third. And A, where is Dijkstra? Well, let's have a look at this once again from their perspective. So, what's happened here between Dijkstra and A? So a little bit of contact at Parabolica sends Dijkstra off track, and Dijkstra almost loses the car entirely there, and he will just swipe across to hold up Turbo Boy, but will it be enough? No, Turbo Boy will get him at the line. Dijkstra will be relegated to 6th at the end. He'll be so frustrated with that. He was in P4 for so long. Y-Cube runs out of tires, finishes in 7th, Cherry finishes in 8th. Did they... What happened? Oh, Y-Cube got a puncture, and Cherry, I think, just tried his level best to get past the Jaguar, but it just wasn't meant to be. Fancy can see that unfolding ahead of him. So, there you go. That is the top 9, and what's it gonna be? Yeah, Ningen, I don't think, could get close to D-Dubs in the end. D-Dubs will finish in 10th. Goose, he has his wipers enabled, but it has just not been a very... He'll want to wipe this race out of his memory probably with how it's gone. Finishes in P12 behind Ningen. I think it's Ningen's first race. Yeah, it is his first race this season. Dougal has a 3-second penalty and has damage. Nate, we will be fast forwarding to this part of the race, but I will wonder what's happened to Dougal, why he's... Oh, that's a dramatic exit. Dramatic end to his race, I should say. Cuts the corner there, that's justified, the penalty. Not the... He should have got a penalty, but again, that's too harsh of a penalty, and that is a pretty dramatic way for Dougal to end his race. An unlucky 13th. Lucky for him, Nate is far enough behind for it to not really trouble him. Epsilon, having made too many pit stops, finishes the race in 15th. He is, I think, 1 lap down. He's not yet not two laps down, he's 1 lap down. Dougal will finish the race. He is out of tires. He is, I think, just out of patience. It is not a particularly happy race for him. And Ningen is part of the Martini sister team. Is he now? Yeah, the logos. Nate will be... I will fast forward because not a whole lot will happen here in any case. Nate will come across the line and finish in 14th. A race to forget for most of these guys outside the top 10. Ningen, I think, first race we will be hoping for a better next race, but still, I think it was trouble from the get-go for him at the sprint. But what a drive from these two, JMS and Deco. And now, as promised, I will go through the championship standings. So, Deco leads by 22 points from Kling Beast, who missed this race. Third place is Fancy. So Fancy's had the most unfortunate luck wherein he has a good sprint, but then being in the midfield for the start of the feature race just almost always causes him some grief. And I think that's been the case more often than not. He is 2 points behind Kling right now. Sierre That's A. Yeah, A is in P4. He is about 15 points behind, and just 4 points behind him is Turbo Boy in the Peugeot. So this win could prove to be very, very important for Deco's championship in the grand scheme of things. So let's see. We have two more rounds left. One at Spa and, forgive me, I need to look this up. Trial Mountain. All right. That is going to be an interesting race as well. Spa is also going to be very, very interesting because it's going to be changeable weather. It's going to be a wet race. At some point, we have not been told what the wet race, how, when the rain is going to hit. So it's going to be interesting. But nonetheless, until next time, this was a very eventful Monza. Thank you to all the drivers. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. And we shall see you next week for a very entertaining Spa race, which I'm sure is going to be a very entertaining race. Thank you to all the drivers. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. And we'll see you next week. Until then, thank you. Take care. And bye bye.